Hi, this is Lori Boucher with Painted Heart Market. Today I'm just putting together a very quick little video on how to use vinyl one-time stencils on canvas fabric. It actually creates the look of silk screening. So if you have something that you love and you'd like it to look like it was silk screened, this gives you an opportunity to do kind of a small batch version. So let me go ahead and get started by just referencing the supplies I'm using. I have a stencil. This one says Book Nerd, and I do sell this on my website, paintedheartmarket.com. And I also have a nice canvas bag and a piece of cardboard. I have some silk screening paint. This is a very thick paint by Speedball. And today I'm going to use a very small, smooth foam rubber roller. And then additionally, I've got a tongue depressor that I'm going to use for one of the steps in preparing our stencil. So as I said, it's a real quick video. Let's start out by preparing the item that we're going to stencil on today. I have the canvas bag, and I've inserted inside of it just a piece of cardboard, because if you don't put something between one side of the bag and the other, the paint will flow right through. You'll have a bad version of your design on the other side. I like to put something that fits fairly well in the object so that the canvas is nice and tight. All right, that's all done. So let's move on to preparing our stencil. When I sell a vinyl stencil to you, it actually is 3 parts, and I'm going to try to pull this apart real quickly here so you can see the various pieces. So there's a white paper lining that the black vinyl in the middle is stuck to, and then there's a clear plastic, sometimes it's even a whitish tape that's on top called transfer tape. So 3 parts. Transfer tape is the top layer, black vinyl, or sometimes it's even blue vinyl in the middle, and then the backing, which is a wax paper backing. Right now, after I've prepared the stencil, the black vinyl, which has these open areas for the paint to flow through, that's going to actually be stuck to the paper lining. So what I have to do is prepare my stencil so that I can attach it better to this transfer tape that's on top. I'm going to do that with a tongue depressor. It's called burnishing. You just want to go over your stencil pretty good, rubbing it. You really can't rub it too hard. If there's a wrinkle in the tape, it's not a huge deal. You're just making sure that the black vinyl is making better contact with that clear transfer tape. All right, so I feel pretty comfortable with that. The next thing I'm going to do is transfer my stencil from the paper to my canvas. So I'm going to separate that paper backing from the black vinyl that I've now adhered to the contact paper. I'm going to just start in one of the corners, and notice that I'm pulling horizontally. I don't pull straight up and down because that will actually loosen parts of my stencil. This should go pretty good. If anything pops up, all you have to do is kind of reverse yourself and push it back down. I had one little pop up a second ago. There's one right here. I'm just going to press it down, and now it's stuck. I'm just working it on across, and one little pop up there. Okay, I'm just going to discard that piece of white paper. It's not part of my design element. Now I have my design. It really looks just the same, but I've only got 2 layers. I have the sticky tape on top, and I've got the black vinyl, and the sticky part of it all is on the back. So you notice here's the front, and then here's the back. So I'm going to put my design down on this book bag, and I kind of want it to be on an angle. So I'm just going to lay it down, smooth it out with my hands, and now it's time to burnish again. Same drill, just using that tongue depressor. I'm going to just rub over this vinyl stencil. And this time I'm going to separate the black vinyl stencil in this case from the clear transfer tape. I'm going to do it exactly the same way. I'm going to pull up a corner of the clear or whitish transfer tape, and I'm going to start rolling it across, and it's going to leave the vinyl on my piece of fabric or my canvas bag in this case. Again, I'm making sure that I pull horizontally. If something was to pop up, like right here, you can see this O, I just back up, and I'm going to push it back down with my fingers. I'm going to continue across, making sure that everything is staying down that I want to have staying down. Still pulling. It helps a little bit if you go more at a vertical, or excuse me, an angle instead of straight off. It tends to help you not pull the letters up quite so easily, or the pieces. And there I go. Now I'm done with that piece of transfer tape for this project, so I'm just going to put it over to the side. Sometimes I'll reuse those. So I've got my stencil all fastened down. I'm rubbing my hands over it just to make sure that all of the edges are taken care of. I don't feel anything popping up. I'm going to grab from my work table some masking tape. I just want to make sure that I don't roll over the edges. And you can see down here, the bottom rim of the glass gets a little close to my fabric. So just going to put myself a little safeguard in there. This is just regular masking tape. You get it anywhere. And there we go. Now, as long as I feel like everything has been fastened down well, I'm ready to start my painting process. And I'm going to move this a little closer into view now. I'm just going to take this small, it has to be a smooth foam roller if you're going to use a roller. You can also use a little sponge pad. I like to even use the ones that are like the little triangular pieces that you can use for makeup. And I'm just going to get a good amount of paint on my roller, but I don't want it all drippy wet. That's just not good for anybody. Okay, I've got a pretty smooth coat there, as you can see. And I'm just going to roll across my design. I'm going to go one time light. This is going to actually let any edges that might want to pop up, I'm going to let them get sealed down with this first kind of skim. Okay, I finished skim coating. In just a second, I'm going to get my brush a little heavier, or my roller, putting a little more paint on here. And this time I'm going to go for really blacking out my design, and I'm just going to keep rolling back and forth. This is really a very quick stencil, and I love how it turns out. It's really cute. It's going to make a nice little bag for me to use to put books in, or I can give it to someone as a gift. And as you can see, where previously you were able to still see the grain of the fabric, now that I'm really blacking it out, you can't really see that fabric. You can very faintly see the outline of the design. And I'll hold it up in just a second. And you see it took very little paint. I've got out about 10 times more than I needed. If you look closely, you can see where the vinyl is still a little bit shiny. Where it's dull, that's where it was open and the paint is soaking through to the canvas. So that's really all there was to doing the painting. Now, believe it or not, you can do this while it's dry, but you can also go ahead and do it while it's wet. I usually do for the big reveal. And I'm just going to pull my masking tape off first. And then I'm going to grab a corner of my stencil, and I'm basically just going to pull it off and over. Now this piece of vinyl is covered in paint now, so be sure where you lay it down, you don't care if there's paint there. Don't put it on the middle of your granite cabinets or piece of nice furniture. I had it turned back just a little bit there and wanted to stick. I'm just going to stick mine to my tabletop right now and get that. Now you notice that I still have these pieces in here, and so I'm going to have to pull those extra pieces of vinyl out for this particular design. And what it's going to do is leave white around the places where I mask. So here goes the first inside piece I'm pulling out. That took care of most of it, but you notice I still have the inside of the E, the R, and the D. And the tricky part here is just not getting your arm across your design. Now I did this particular design, like I said, it's available on my website, but I also made custom stencils. So for instance, this year I'll be doing some gifts for my grandchildren. I have 8 of them. And I'd like to make a design, something about the Boucher family Christmas. And I think I'll just use this process, make them all a nice little bag, put their goodies in. Again, it gives you that appearance that you paid to have a design screen printed. Because the lines are just so nice and crisp on this process. All right, and there's most of book. All I need to do now is pull out a couple of inserts in these letters. Got 2 more pieces here, and then this project is finished. All right, there you go. A nice book bag. There you go. You've got a nice silkscreen book bag. I put it on an angle. It says Book Nerd. It is wet, and I'll let it dry thoroughly. Then I'll actually take an iron, put a cloth over it, heat set it, and it's ready to go. I can use it or give it as a gift, and it would be washable. I hope that was helpful to you, and please give me an email at info@paintedheartmarket.com or visit my website, paintedheartmarket.com, to look at and purchase other great stencils. They can be used on fabric, wood, really almost anything. Look forward to talking to you soon.